Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to episode 23 of Bliss Tell I. I'm in a much better mood this week than I was last week. Yay! So let's get on with it. Well, the reason why I'm in a much better mood this week is because, I sort of found the flow of my writing again. I mean, there's nothing worse, I think, for a writer than, just knowing that what you're doing is not, you knowing that it's not your best and that it sucks and that you can do so much better, and then it's like this spiral and fuck it. I don't even want to talk about it anymore because I found my flow again. Yay! I'm progressing well with No Strings Attached. I think I'm about halfway through now, and it's been a lot of fun. I think it's also been a lot of fun because this book is in the third person point of view, past tense. So it's because I've been doing so much first person present tense lately that for me as well it's fun to switch it up. Plus there is only one point of view character, so it's not like switching like in French Kissing where I switch almost every 1,000 words, which does help with writing quickly because it's always something new. But this is like Seasons of Love, but Seasons of Love is first person as well. This is third person, just to mix it up for me. Plus, only one point of view, so I can really get to know my character and show where she's coming from, what she's gone through. Like really go a lot deeper, and I'm really enjoying that. So yeah, it's fun. So I'm very happy with that. Also, I discovered, not discovered. I mean, I knew this. Like, actually, here's what happened. So last Tuesday, because I wasn't writing on Monday because I had to finish like a whole bunch of stuff, get my other book ready for the editor, stuff like that. I had to start writing No Strings Attached again, and I was feeling, I didn't want to, I thought, oh, fuck, what is happening to me? I thought I had writer's block, but I never really suffered from writer's block. But, and a lot of people say writer's block, it doesn't exist, it's a lack of enthusiasm. But I knew I was enthusiastic about this book, because, I mean, I have it in my head, all I needed to do is just sit down and write it. And, then I came across this podcast, and it's from the self-publishing guys. And the title of the podcast was How to Get Past the Suck. And, this really spoke to me because I thought everything sucked. And then I listened to it, and then, Johnny, the guy who was doing the podcast, said, well, what I did? I just, allowed myself more leeway, not being too strict, blah, blah, blah. But the thing that really, made sense to me, what he said is, and I started reading more, and then I thought, well, yeah, of course, because I always know that when I'm reading a really good book, I write my best work, and this was the case when I was writing Seasons of Love. I was reading A Little Life, my favorite book, like maybe for my favorite book ever. I don't know. I'm not sure I will ever come across another book like A Little Life ever again, because it was just so much of everything. But I wouldn't say good stuff, because I mean it was a grueling book, but it was so beautifully written, and that's what I need. I mean, it was good fun reading Padma Lakshmi's memoir. Found out some stuff, but it's not the kind of writing that I'm looking to read when I'm writing myself, because it doesn't make me aspire to anything. So I need to read some lit-fig, some highbrow shit, because that's just how it works. Because I think when you're really immersed in a really good book, that shows you how it's done, I think subconsciously, well, this is the case for me, you try to maybe mimic. And I'm absolutely in no way saying I don't write literary fiction. I don't. I mean, I never will. It's not my thing, but this is very hard to explain. But what it comes down to is that when I'm reading a really good book, I write better. And this is my advice to anyone who's stuck, or I don't know, their writing isn't flowing. They think everything sucks, which was the case with me last week. Read a really good book. And I mean, it's so simple, but it's true. It's like when you write a book, you empty your tank, you need to refill it. The tank is not just gonna refill itself. And I realized that I had been reading enough great fiction, so that's what I started doing. I started reading this book called The Nest. I cannot remember the name of the author. Something hyphenated. Cynthia something. It's really good. It's just entitled people in New York, which is what I like. It's just really what I like to read, And it's written so beautifully. So it lifted me right out of my funk. So now I'm back to it, progressing nicely in my book, and everything is great, I don't want to diss Padma Lakshmi's memoir. I truly, truly enjoyed it. But, it's not literary fiction. So, anyway, another highlight of the week is that Caroline started a weekly, what is supposed to be a weekly blog post. Mrs. Bliss, I want to say, I mean, when, she is not just Mrs. Bliss. Okay, it's like, there's an example. Last night, when I come home, my laptop does not open unless it's to watch Netflix, right? My laptop stays shut. When I come home around 5, I do nothing. But Caroline, she comes home, laptop open, she starts doing some stuff, and then I saw she was doing something, I don't know, making an invoice or something, and it just made me realize, I said, there must be so many things you do for the company that I don't even know you do. And she said, yeah, that's true. I mean, all the things that she does, little things or big things, allow for me to, first obsess about myself and, focus on my writing. And I think that's I mean, to be married to someone like that is pretty great. So anyway, that's not what I was going to say. She has a weekly blog post now on the Ladylet website. I'm also posting it on my Harper Bliss blog, in which she will be discussing the publishing side of things, like more the business side, like the decisions we make, which kind of goes with the podcast that we do now for the Lesbian Talk Show, Harper Bliss and Her Missus. So she's been preparing a few, and it looks good, and looking forward to sharing that with you. Plus, I made her put a picture of herself in the blog post. I said, "Fuck it, come out properly." So I think up until maybe a year and a half ago, I didn't have my picture out there. I mean, I certainly didn't have a YouTube channel out there, but I do think like having a face, showing your face to people, I think it helps with the connection. So I think readers enjoy knowing not so much what the person looks like, but just like have this point of recognition. Say, oh yeah, that's Caroline. I say, oh yeah, that's Harper Bliss. I used to have a picture of a cleavage as my profile picture everywhere. I don't even have that in real life anymore after my surgery. So anyway, I also shared the first 2 chapters of Far From the World We Know yesterday. So this time next week, I'll be going crazy, I know, because release day is the next Friday. Very excited about it. Some people on my launch team have already read it, and they said they really enjoyed it, which is awesome. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that next week. And then this morning, we got an email from the audiobook company to say that they'll be starting production on the CDs of Seasons of Love, I think next week, and then it'll be ready for shipping. I think the week after. The official release date is 30th of April, and they sent us the cover. So it's like, like square for like a CD. But I mean, we already knew they were going to use the same cover that Caroline had made for Seasons of Love. So yeah, that's coming closer as well. It's very exciting. Um, I've actually never listened to an audiobook before. I don't know if I'll be able to listen to this one because, it's my own words. I don't know. That would probably freak me out a little bit. But yeah, we'll see. So, and Caroline, my amazing wife, she also made a new cover for Highrise, it's really awesome because it like fits the book so much more. And this is like such a perfect example of what we talked about on Harper, Bliss and Her Misses last week when we were talking about covers. I made the cover myself. This book came out 3 years ago, before Caroline was full-time, when I was doing everything myself. And, I mean, it wasn't a horrible cover, but, since my covers of my books have gotten better because, Caroline started making them. It just, every time I saw the cover of Highrise, it really stuck out, like a sore thumb. I was not pleased with it anymore. So, and then, I mean, just change it, it can be very simple. Just, if you don't like a cover anymore, this is indie publishing, just change it. It's easy. So I'm very happy with that. So it was a pretty good week for me. Happy to be, back writing speedily again. So what's coming up next week? Well, more No Strings Attached writing for sure, and the publication of Far From the World We Know, which I'm going to try something new for the launch, but, something that readers shouldn't notice that I'm doing it. It's a bit technical and marketing, behind the scenes thing. So I may do a podcast about it later if it works. We'll see. But it's been like my last real novel was in January. So that was like 3 months ago. So I think it's been a while. I think maybe people are waiting for a new Harper Bliss novel. And like an actual novel, like not, French Kissing, which was like book 3 in the series, and From Top to Bottom, which was an anthology. So I have high expectations for Far From the World We Know, because I think it has everything to do well. And I have a number in mind, of an Amazon ranking number that I have in my mind. I don't know if I should share it. Maybe next week. I don't know, because, what if it bombs, right? But I mean, I think the book has a great cover made by my wife. I think it has an intriguing title, Far From the World We Know. Plus, I think the book is good, but of course I'm going to say that, but yeah, it's, I was proofreading it the other week again, and I was pleased with it, so, we'll see next week. Well, not next week because it only comes out next week, but I'll let you know. So I wanted to go below 500 on the Amazon store. Below 500 in ranking. It's high. Well, it's low. Actually, it's always so confusing with these rankings, but I think it can, because most of my Release the Stars went up to like 265 or something, so Seasons of Love went pretty high as well, although I can't remember, but that was not in Kindle Unlimited. Anyway, let's not talk about this anymore. We will see. So I have a lot of questions this week. I won't be able to do all of them, I think. 14 minutes. Okay, Skadia. Hi, Skadia. She had a question last week. You didn't say if I pronounced your name correctly. Skadia, is that correct? So Skadia's question is, did you see yourself where you are now 5 years ago, or were your expectations different? Oh my god, it's an excellent question. But 5 years ago, I had absolutely no idea what I was going to do. We just moved to Hong Kong. Well, we'd been here since October, so we'd been here half a year. And I was probably thinking that I should probably get like a job or something, because I'd been not working for 6 months. But, I was also realizing that I was like highly unemployable. I also really did not want to get a job. So I started writing, and I was lucky because, my wife could have said, fuck it, you're getting a job. But she didn't, which was very nice of her, which changed everything, really. So, I certainly, 5 years ago, if I could have hoped for this, for what I have now, oh my God, I would have signed the contract for sure on that. But like, let's go back, because then I started writing, right? And I wrote my first novel, which is not a Harper Bliss novel. Thank goodness for that. I made a lot of first-time novel mistakes. Two in particular, I based a bunch of characters on real-life friends. Like I have this friend who is from Scotland, and then I had this guy turn up in my novel who was from Ireland. Duh, and I also gave them even the same character traits and stuff. And I think this is a real beginner's mistake, right? So I'm really embarrassed about that, and I think this is the reason why none of my friends want to read my books anymore, because they're afraid what's gonna happen to them in the next book. And I told them, I apologize. I said I'm sorry. In hindsight, right? I didn't know at the time. I know now. In hindsight, I know I should not have done that. That book should probably not have been published. The other mistake, it was supposed to be a lesbian romance, but it did not stick to the rules of romance at all, meaning there was a lot of cheating. So those were two big mistakes that I made. The book did not do well, which is totally understandable. But, I learned a lot from that book. I learned so much. So, after that book, that was 4 years ago. Yeah, it's exactly 4 years ago that came out. And then I said, what's next? And then I started writing erotica. And then, that really did start taking off. Probably because I learned some valuable lessons from that first book. Gave myself a new name and everything. So, 5 years ago, I didn't know I was actually going to become a writer. So I did not have a plan. But today I do have a plan for what I want my life to be like in 5 years. I hope to have a pretty substantial backlist by then. Even if I only publish 5 books a year in the coming years after this crazy one, I will have grown my backlist to probably 40 full-length books. So I would like to still have my wife by my side. And we'll be traveling, and I'll always be writing. I can't imagine a life of writing. Although, I know my plan is very vague, right? I do plan. I plan a year in advance. I know what all my releases are going to be. But, this year is so crazy. If I have one plan for what I want to happen in the next 5 years after this crazy one, is that I want to feel much less rushed. Because last weekend I had a situation in which I had to write, I had to proofread, and I had to get a book ready for the editor. And I said, this is just crazy, But I know I put myself in that position this year. I won't be doing... Next year I will not be publishing a book a month, maybe a book every 2 months. That seems very reasonable, right? So, did I answer this question correctly? I always ask, and then people always say in the comments, yeah, that was fine. So, I hope this satisfies you, Skadia. But I do think it's valuable to plan. To plan a few years ahead, maybe not 5. I'm not the biggest long-term thinker, but I can plan a year ahead and see myself. Although I don't know where I'm. Oh yeah, this time next year I should be in New Zealand. Yeah. So that should be fun. But where I will be 5 years from now, I have absolutely no idea, right? So, anyway. Next question. I have 2 more questions. I will only be doing one. Okay. A question from Sue. Hello, Sue. So, Sue says, how is your English so good? Is it just study or being in an English-speaking environment? Well, this is an excellent question, and the answer may surprise you because the answer is television. I'm from Belgium, right? And in Belgium, when you watch television, when you watch an English show, it's not dubbed. It's with subtitles. So, and there is no. I'm absolutely convinced of this. If you want to learn a language, you watch a TV show in the language, and then you get a simultaneous translation, really, that you read, and it gets absorbed into your brain. Especially like when you're younger, like when I was a teenager. I've been a television addict since I was like, since as long as I can remember. And we were starting to get more and more American and British TV shows, which was awesome for me. Beverly Hills 90210. That was my favorite show growing up. Especially when you're a teenager, you're learning. You can learn so fast, and I learned a lot of English from television, And like only last night, Caroline and I, we were watching a French film. It was, I'd seen it already 10 years ago in the cinema, Tell No One, with Kristen Scott Thomas, who speaks French in the movie, and she plays a lesbian. Oh my God, we were drooling. We were like fanning ourselves every time she came onto the screen. Not enough scenes with her at all. They should do a movie, like a separate movie just about her. She was amazing. Anyway, I digress. So this movie was in French, so spoken in French, but with English subtitle. And, I could feel my brain switching to French, and then afterwards, as a joke, start talking to my wife in French. I mean, broken French, but she is French speaking, so she corrects me, of course, which she likes to do. So yeah, actually, what the reason why a lot of people from Belgium, as opposed to, for instance, people from France or even from Wallonia in Belgium, don't have good English, is because they dub their television shows and their movies, which is like the stupidest thing to do, because a dubbed TV show is just ridiculous, well, to me, because I didn't grow up with it. I know there are a lot of people who don't want to read subtitles, but, you're missing out, because, watching TV it absorbs you, right? And then you listen, you get all this language just coming into your brain, but you're being entertained at the same time. It is perfect to learn a language. That's how I learned English. Beverly Hills 90210, Dallas. LA Law, all of that. So, yeah. Can I quickly squeeze in another question? No, I don't think I will. It's too long. But Sue, I hope I answered your question. I will reply to your other questions next week. I think that's it for this week. Have an awesome weekend. Send me more questions. Although I'm a little bit backed up at the moment. And thank you for watching. Peace out. Peace out.